Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Drew here. And you know, I don't know if it's me, but it seems like all the prices are just going up. Maybe it's just me, but I know for a fact it's not just me because today, this afternoon, I went to the supermarket and it just seems like everything is just higher. And I thought it was just me until other people in the supermarket start saying the same thing. Like, why is everything seeming so expensive? I would go and buy the same exact things and only spend around 30, maybe $40 the most. And it seems like you're spending 60 and more. Just the other day I went and buy some food and I really didn't notice it until now. But I'm like, I only had one bag. 95 bucks. I barely had anything in there. One bag. Usually I would never come home with one bag and spend $95 in groceries. So, but I wasn't really paying attention to it then. But now I'm noticing it. I'm noticing it now, and I'm not the only one. Other people's noticing, like, why is the prices seem a little bit like it's higher? Even the newly renovated supermarket on the new ownership around the corner from the one that's right here, right near me, the closest one, their prices were cheaper on certain things. And now those things seems like the prices are higher now. And I don't know if it's price gouging going on, or maybe before everything was just in sale and now they just, because of the rush that's going on, and they want to make the all the money they can, they just put things back to the regular price. I don't know what's going on, but it seems like in this time of this chaos with this outbreak, things just seems to be getting more expensive. And I'm not really sure, but I'm gonna have to look into it more and see what's going on. Now, what the heck is going on with Congress? They can't pass a simple bill. The bill that they're I guess it's for 8.3 or 8.5 billion dollars that the Democrats and the president, the White House agreed upon. Yet Republicans in the Senate just don't want to pass it. I don't know if it's pettiness or they just hate the Democrats so much they just want to, stick it to the Dems. Stick it to the Dems. I don't know what's going on. Now, I've said this before. I'm not for Democrats or Republicans. I don't trust any of them. I'm not for them. But do you really think that this is the time to be playing politics, to be sticking it to the other side, or whatever the case may be? Do you actually think this is the time? Because a lot of these politicians, they're set for life. It's the rest of us, the other 99% who don't have money put away, so a lot of us are working paycheck to paycheck. The stories that the unemployment line is, or I don't even know if the line, but sorry if you hear that noise. Somebody just decided they want to blow their horn outside like crazy. If you could hear this, I'm so sorry about that. Oh my God, why is the horn being blown like that? Oh Lord. But there's unemployment is getting a ton of claims because there's a lot of layoffs here in New York State. I think in Connecticut, New Jersey, I'm not sure it's the same thing. But I know here in New York, that's what's going on right now. The people who are getting the money right now is people in healthcare, the grocery stores, the supermarkets and stuff like that. why are you playing politics at this time? Because when this thing, or if this thing ever goes back, I mean, we get control of this thing. A lot of people is going to be homeless or in shelters because they lost their jobs. They have no way to provide for themselves and their family. And you guys want to play politics. I don't understand this. Something like this, the entire world is affected by this thing. The rest of the world is looking at what the U.S. is doing. A lot of countries are even showing America how to handle this thing, which is just weird for the richest country in the world. We're being shown how to get a control of this thing by so-called third world countries. Now, my country of birth is considered a third world country. From the first case, they shut everything down. They shut everything down. Schools are closed until are all that. They didn't wait for anything. They didn't wait for anything. They didn't blame the former president. They didn't say it was a hoax by the opposition. They didn't do any of those things. They acted right away. So the point for all these, from since this thing started to now, they've only have 4 or 5 cases reported, tops, because they took control. They took control. No politics. Just they did what they had to do for the people. Why can't we do the same thing in this country? The richest country in the world. Why can't we get this down? Why can't we do what's right for the people that elected you and put you in office? A majority, almost 99% of your votes came from people who are not the 1%. So why are you not doing what's right for them? Why is this thing taking so long? Because even after it's over, you go back to your regular lives, doing what you're doing, getting even more rich, and the poor just keep getting even more poor. You gotta get a handle on this. Now, today, this morning, I had to go to my son's school because, as I said in my previous video, they're gonna start doing. He's gonna start basically taking classes from home, the remote class. So we had to go and pick up the Chromebook. Right before I left, I believe there was a press conference. I think either Trump or the Prime Minister for Canada had started his own. I'm not really sure, but I know when I came back, Trump was on, and a reporter asked him about why is he continuing to call this outbreak the Chinese virus. And he had I honestly don't care what he calls it, because right now America and China is basically pointing fingers at each other. So, but this man had the perfect opportunity to denounce all the violence that's going on towards Asian Americans right now, and immigrant Asians that's here, and he did not take the opportunity to denounce it. He doubled down on what he's been saying. He doubled down. This man just, I don't think he gets it. He acts like a kindergartner. I would never say kindergartners. Maybe a middle schooler or even a high schooler. That he continues and doubles down on the nonsense. Perfect opportunity. And he just basically mocked the reporter, in my opinion. You might see it differently. But he did not do that. And I don't know if I'm right, but a lot of these Chinese restaurants around the neighborhood are closed, and I'm pretty sure some of them might not even open back, depending on how long this thing lasts. Because a lot of them are afraid, and they had no choice but to close up shop, because people are, you know, using this as an excuse to put their hands on someone, and you should not put your hands on anyone. I don't understand what the Asians here have to do with with what the government in China did or allegedly did. They had nothing to do with it. They're here, taking care of their families, working, doing what they have to do here. They were not a part of that. So why are we doing why? And regardless, you should not put your hands on anyone else. And the hate crime is going on. I don't know. The hate crime is there, and I can't speak for any other race, but black folks that I have worked with, black people that I have worked with, some of them are in my family that I know of don't like Asians. Why, I don't know. I mean, my mom and my dad never ever taught me hate towards any race, so I don't know why. Because when I was growing up in my country, I one of my friends was a Chinese boy. Can't remember his name right now. I was 11. I was probably 9 at that time. Yeah, I think I met him around 9 and then I left the country when I was 11. I was so I was I was so close to him and his parents. I used to go in that Chinese restaurant, play with him. I used to go in the back, and that's how it was. When you live in a neighborhood with a with a Chinese restaurant or the Chinese people in the neighborhood, you get to know them. But a lot of them don't like it. They just don't like. I know. I don't want to say a lot, but every place I've ever worked, every place I've ever lived, I've always heard of black people voicing their disdain for Asians. I don't know why. I can't. That's something that one of them would have to actually explain. But that's something, and it's not just them. There's black folks from different countries that don't like Haitians. Don't know why, because they got this thing that they do black magic and all this craziness. They worship the devils and because they like candles and all that stuff. But I never, you know, I have never had hate for any one of them. I even dated a Haitian girl in high school. My dad didn't have no issue with it, but my stepmom did not like it. She told me so much things that was bad. And that was the first time I ever heard all of this was from my stepmom. And I didn't agree with it then, and I was 16 at the time when I was in her, and I still don't agree with anything she said up to this day. I've had many Haitians friends, and I don't see my stepmom's way or anybody or anyone's other way. Before you make a judgment, get to know the people, get to learn their culture, get to know them before you decide, oh, I hate them. And it goes the same way because I've worked with Asians, and my manager, who was a Korean, told me a lot of Asians, it's not that they hate blacks, is that they're afraid of them because of the stereotype that's going out there. And that's what I was told. But if you take the effort to get to know someone and show them that there's nothing to be afraid of, they won't be afraid. I mean, there's this thing that we're all aggressive and all, rowdy. I'm not that way. I've never been that way, and I'm not that way ever. But this needs to stop. People need to stop hating. I don't know what it is. I would never understand what this is in this world, but There's a saying, where there's light, there's dark. You know, where there's love, there's hate. Where there's like, there's dislike. So those are the things that is happening around the world. You are never going to be able to get rid of hate the same way you're never going to get rid of love. It's just something that's not never going to happen. You can preach equality, you can preach why can't we all just get along, all these talk shows talking about it. It is never going to happen because as individuals, we all have our own individual way of thinking, and we all don't see things the same way. So this is what happens because we some people just feel like you have to believe in their way. And I'm a guy that's like, hey, you live your life, I live mine. Your life doesn't affect mine, and that's how I see it. If you're gay or transgender or whatever the case may be, you live your life. I live mine. It doesn't your life when your life choices does not affect my life. That's just how I see it. So I don't know what's going on with Congress. I don't know what's going on with this president. This I just don't know what's going to happen. Because when the dust settles, the aftermath is what we're gonna what we're gonna be left with. And yesterday, or is it yesterday or the day before? But whatever day it was, the mayor of New York made a statement saying, when this is all over, we could be New York State it could be in the equivalent of like the Great Depression. And today Trump basically said he don't believe that. It's not gonna happen. Everything's doing fine. Stocks dropping. As he's saying that, stocks is just dropping and dropping and dropping. And all the analysts say, some of them say they don't think it's gonna happen, and then some say it looks like it's gonna happen. Who knows? But right now, it's the little guys is the ones who are going to suffer in the long run. Now today, as I mentioned before, I went to my son's school to get the Chromebook so he can start working and doing his schoolwork from home. And the teacher said that she's not sure how she's actually gonna. I know they're gonna send the lessons, so there's no like scheduled time. But she said she might start doing like the video conference where she gets to talk. Certain times she'll let us know if she decides to do that. Sometimes she might just record a lesson and upload it, and that's how they basically get their school. And she just recorded it at home or or at the school and send it in, and post it on the in the app or the website that they are going to be using. So, and I believe they're using Google Classroom. So, shout out to Google on that one. So my son could continue to get his education, even though we never stop. Because since he's been home for this week, he's been doing his ABC mouse and the packages that the school send. So now when I went there today, I got more stuff for him to do. Since he's not going back to school at least until April 20th, and from what the mayor is saying, it don't look. He hopes that is the case, but it so far it's not looking that way. Cause now I don't know, but the missus told me she heard today that they're saying that by next week New York might be have 37,000 confirmed cases. I haven't really looked into it, so that's what I'm saying. I heard. I'm not sure on that one, but I know as so far from the last thing that they released, the last status that they released, New York was up to 1,374 confirmed in the state. So, so we got his stuff, and there's a park directly across from my son's school. So it was only like one child in there, and I was about to jump back into Uber to come back home, and I saw the kid come out. The parents, the mom and her son left. The park was empty, and my son said, "Oh, he wants to go inside." Okay, instead of ordering Uber, let's go for a second. So myself, my son, and my daughter went to the park, and it was very much empty, very much empty. My son was just running, playing for a little bit, play for a little while, and then we just left and came home. But it's like everything is just like all the parks and everything is just like empty. I mean, the supermarkets and like everything is making their business. The restaurants around the neighborhood seems to be doing okay. Not like before you see the crowds because I guess everybody don't want to crowd up the place. They're practicing the social distance certain places, but in the supermarkets, being that it's so crowded, or some of them is like crowded, is hard to keep that that distance, especially when you go on the line. You don't have that distance between you, so it's like it's kind of hard in those places. I think the supermarket should just let some people in at a time, a certain amount of people in at one time, and then, once they leave, bring some more in. But no one is actually doing that right now. I guess they're waiting for it to get even worse than it is right now. Who knows? But please like, share, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and leave your comments down below. This is Drew with Let's Talk Something, signing off, and see you on the next video. Peace.